How's it going, guys? My name is KlingHQ, and today we're going to be talking about the best settings in Phantom Forces. We're going to max out your FPS, the best FPS you can possibly get. We're going to combine this into three little topics. Okay, we're going to go from a bad PC all the way up to a good PC and somewhere in between. So we'll have it chaptered off based on your settings, your computer performance, all that stuff. We'll be able to get you a lot better FPS. We did a video like this in the past and it was very successful. We helped a lot of people out, but settings have changed, so we were making a new video. Let's get into it. Alrighty, guys, I completely forgot to mention the FPS Unlocker. Okay, the FPS Unlocker is what gets you capped above 60. So if you're below 60 FPS, you don't need to do this. But if you're above 60 FPS, you want a Roblox FPS Unlocker. So easiest way to do this, you literally Google FPS Unlocker Roblox. It's this first one, this Austin one. You want to make sure it is the 64-bit right here. You'll download that. It'll be a-okay. It'll run. You'll open the zip. You're good to go. Okay, but yeah, you just want to make sure before you open Roblox, it'll run this application. It'll run in the background and it'll unlock your FPS. It's super easy, super quick, and it'll you'll be able to see better FPS. Alrighty, guys, before I get into the settings, one thing: if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button right now. I really appreciate it. There's like 80% of you guys that aren't subbed. It's kind of stupid, bro. You're gonna hit that sub button. Also, if you're subbed, make sure that notification bell is on, because it hasn't been working. YouTube has not been notifying subs recently, so hit that bell, make sure everything is working, and we'll be a-okay. But this video is going to help tremendously, and you're gonna be able to get a lot better FPS in Roblox Phantom Forces in 2021. Alrighty, guys, so the first computer we're going to be talking about is the potato computer, as we like to call it. This is for the worst computers if you have like integrated graphics cards, all that stuff. Okay, we're going to go over to the Roblox settings first. Okay, easiest to figure it out, all that stuff. So graphics mode, you want to make sure it's on manual. Alrighty, so when we're on manual, we have this little graphics bar. And for a bad computer, we can crank that down all the way to 3 or 4. Once you get under 3 and 4, you can't see the full distance of the game. So if it's a close quarter map, I run 3. If it's a bigger map, I'll run 4 just to get the max distance. Okay. So if you can tell right about here, we're at 170 to 180 FPS. Okay. Just by lowering this down, if we lower this down to 3, I'm at 209, 234, 245. Big difference, okay? But that's just the beginning. Let's get into Phantom Forces stats. Alrighty, so for a bad computer, you're going to want to limit what you see in game. We're gonna head over to display. If we're on a bad computer, disable blood. You can keep chat on. All these HUDs you can keep on. Particles, you disable particles. Shaders disabled. Third person camo skins, always disable those. That saves you a couple FPS. First person camo, if you're a big camo guy, you can leave that on. It's not going to make a huge difference. If you don't really care, you can turn it off. Sparks, you can turn off. Muzzle effects, turn off. Bullet holes, all this stuff, you know. The biggest factor to lowering your FPS, this is the single most important setting. Gun models, you turn that off, it's like guaranteed like 10 to 20 FPS. It's crazy. And then day cycle, it doesn't matter. Global shadows, I like to run it on. If you're really potato-y, you can disable it. I just think it looks too bright, so I'll keep it enabled. And we spawn in, I'm right around 250. When I was at 230, now I'm at 250. So just by changing those. Also, guys, in this advanced tab, just keep everything as low as possible, like 111 and 185, something along the lines of not having max blood on. You'll get a couple FPS from that. Alrighty, guys, time for the medium computer. If you have this, you have a decent graphics card, nothing better than like a 1030. You have an okay CPU. Roblox is very CPU based, so if you don't have a good CPU, you might want to hop over to the potato PC side. Not saying the computer's bad, but it's a little slower. But hey, if you're mediocre, we got the settings for you. Okay, so you head over to settings. You want to make sure your graphics mode's on manual, and it'll start off, you'll have the 10 bars. Okay, you have an okay computer, and what we like to do, the graphics quality, anything below 3 and 4, you'll start to lose the range. You won't be able to see full distance. You have a decent computer though, so I'd bump that up at least 4. You can run 5, 6. A-okay, okay. Just you'll get a little bit graphics quality. 4 and higher is what I'd stay with. You don't need to go max graphics on that. It's not going to make a huge difference. Looking at Phantom Force's settings, we're going to show you the biggest setting you want to change to max your FPS. Lobby gun models, you disabled that. You gain a lot of FPS just on that. Scrolling through blood, it's up to you. It doesn't really add that much to the game. You can disable it. These HUDs you can keep. Crosshairs, I always disable because I don't like crosshairs. You can keep them if you want. Turn on Roblox particles, disable shaders. Third person camos, you disable that. If you really care about seeing what other people have as a camo, it's just a solid color, so it doesn't really matter a whole lot. But if you really care about that, you can keep it enabled. First person camos, I'll leave that enabled. I like camos. Sparks, I'll probably turn sparks off. Keep muzzle effects, keep bullet holes. The bullet casings we can disable. We already disabled gun models. The day cycles, that's up to you. Shadows I keep enabled because I just like it being a little bit more darker than bright. And then we'll disable ragdolls. A lot of people with max graphics will disable ragdolls. It's just based on you if you like to see the bodies on the ground or not. You save FPS if you have it disabled. Then looking at advanced, this stuff doesn't matter a whole lot. You can bump it up a little bit. I usually run decent settings and I still keep it pretty low, and it doesn't seem to make a huge difference, but you can run something like that, you'll be a-okay. If we spawn in, I'm at 215, 220 FPS. When I was on low settings, I was at 250. I have a 1080, so I have a decent computer. Alrighty guys, this is the good computers. If you have a good gaming computer, anything over a 1030, if you're looking at like a 1060, 1080, 2080s, all this fancy stuff, this man's shooting right by me, this is for you. But here we are, we're going on the settings. You want to make sure your thing's on manual. My man. Okay, we're just gonna F5. What you're gonna do, you're gonna make sure it is on manual and graphics quality. You have a good computer, you can bump it all the way up if you want. It's not gonna make a huge difference if you drop it down a little bit. A couple of shades here and there, like shaders and stuff, you can still do that. But anything over 4, you're gonna get max range, so it really doesn't matter. I'll probably go like 8 or something like that, and it works out just fine. Okay, if we head over to the settings, we're gonna go on display. You can have blood on. You can literally, if you wanted to, have everything enabled. Shaders, they just blind you. There's no really, unless you like the look of it, there's really no use in having those enabled. So I'll always disable those. Third person camos, like I said in the last little segment, it doesn't really matter a whole lot because they're one solid color. But if you want those, you can run it. You get a good computer. If not, I usually just disable them. It doesn't make a huge difference. We're gonna enable our camos because camos are cool. Sparks you can have enabled, add a couple cool effects. Honestly, a bunch of this stuff is personal preference. You can enable them if you want or disable them if you want. Muzzle effects will enable. Bullet casings we can enable. Lobby models will still disable. This saves FPS. It's insane how much FPS you save just by getting rid of that. It's crazy. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but hey. And then I always enable global shadows just to make sure it's not way too bright. Like that's just obnoxious, you know. And then ragdolls, it's personal preference. If you want ragdolls, you can run it, no worries. And then the stuff. If you run blood, you can always go max. But honestly, these settings don't really mean a whole lot. It's really not gonna make a difference, okay? But you can run on the higher end. You'll see a lot more blood and stuff like that. Alrighty, but here we are in game. We hit tab. What are we looking at? 147. That's kind of low. The higher settings, they don't make a huge difference. It all depends on your setup, how many hertz of monitor you have. I don't have the best computer. I think it's higher end, but it's not great. So, but anyways, guys, there you have it. Let me know if that's helped you out. Let me know how much FPS you increased, and hopefully we can get that going for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new, hit that sub button, leave a like, a comment. Helps the algorithm. But thank you guys so much. I will see you later. Peace.